Hey everyone, it's Kelly. I'm back today with a double page 12 by 12 project life process video. And this week I am going to be documenting week 28, and I'm going to be using a lot of my Studio Calico products that I have in my stash. When I get a kit, I just kind of mix it in with my other kits that I've received from Studio Calico. So this is not one particular kit, it's just a mix and match of different kits that I've received over the past year. I've been subscribing to Studio Calico since January, so I have all of their kits from 2020 so far. So whenever I'm getting ready to work on a project life spread, the first thing I do is print out my photos, and I take a look at the colors that I have in my photos, and then that helps decide the color scheme that I want to go with. So the photo that I chose to use for this week is that red and blue photo that's on the left-hand side of the spread that's in one of the bottom pockets. But I did not want to go full on red and blue because the week that I documented last week, which was week 27, was 4th of July week, and I went super patriotic for that spread. So I didn't want to have two spreads with a very similar feel on back-to-back weeks. So when I was going through my Studio Calico cards, I came across the card that is in the top left-hand pocket, and it has red and blue and pink and purple and a little bit of orange. And I thought that that would be a perfect card to use as a jumping off point. So once I have a card selected that kind of hits all of the key areas that I'm looking for as far as color goes, I then take my whole stack of cards and I do a real quick yes, no, yes, no, yes, no on whether or not the cards match the color that I'm using in my main color scheme or main focal point or just my overall general feel that I want for the layout. So once I have that narrowed down, I grab the stack again and I flip through the cards again, just narrowing down my choices until I find cards that I think will work well. I've fallen a few weeks behind in project life, and because of that, I couldn't exactly remember what all happened this week. And I wasn't sure if I had stories that I wanted to tell that I didn't have photos to go with those stories. So when that happens, I will use one of the open pockets and grab a journaling card, and I will just journal that story without a photo to go with it. I'm totally fine doing that. But I couldn't remember, so I had to pull out my planner, which is what you saw there. I use that happy planner almost as a journal, I guess you could say. I just jot down what happens each day of the week, and I use fun stickers and just make it decorative. And I was just reading through the stories to make sure that I didn't have anything extra that I wanted to add to this week where I needed to make sure that I left a pocket available for extra journaling. So yes, I am still going through my cards, trying to make decisions on what I want to do. And I did end up shutting the camera off because I didn't want 90% of this video to be me just shuffling through the cards. But I did want you to see that it does take some time for me to figure out what I want to use. I don't just magically decide, okay, this is all going to work together great. It does take some time to figure out what's going to work best in what pocket. Now, I have not been shy about admitting that I have a hard time using my Studio Calico kits. I have discovered over these many months of doing Project Life that I am not a minimalist when it comes to Project Life. I really like to heavily embellish my layouts. I like to have a lot of dimension. The Studio Calico kits, I think, are definitely geared more towards someone who has more of a minimalistic approach to Project Life, doesn't do a lot of embellishing, which is great. I think that's a great form of Project Life. It definitely means you get it done a lot faster. I'm very slow at Project Life because I like to take my time and play with the products and use lots of embellishing. But because of that, I have a ton of cards from Studio Calico because their kits are packed full of really amazing, really great cards. So I wanted to use as many cards as possible on the spread, and I do a really good job of that. I think I end up using 16 cards in various ways on the spread, which is awesome. So I'm using some of the photos on top of the card. So I'm using the card to actually back the photo, almost make a layer with the photo. And I like to do that because it does bring in additional color, and it's a great way to use up your cards. That is a trick that I learned from Heba from My Little Journal. If you have not checked out her YouTube channel, I highly, highly recommend it. She puts together amazing spreads, and she is so much fun to watch. So here I'm actually taking one of the cards and I'm just chopping off the part of the card that I want. The color of the card did not match my color scheme for the week, but it had this black area on the card that said now watching, and I had a screenshot from a show that we have been binge watching. So I thought that would be a great little, almost like an embellishment that I made out of the card, and it allows me to use that card. Now I'll save the other piece and maybe use it later on a different project. I could always stamp on it and fussy cut out an image. There you saw me again. I chopped another card apart. That is a rainbow striped card, and it matched another card that I had from Studio Calico really well. And I thought it would help tie in those two photos, so I just went ahead and chopped it up too. Now I'm grabbing a stamp that I had recently purchased from Feed Your Craft, and it is a large image of a phone, and I had a screenshot of a text message that my son sent to me, and I thought it would be a great embellishment to add to a card to really kind of enhance the story behind the photo. So I am just grabbing my Misty and I am going to stamp that. It's a pretty solid image, and I had not used the stamp before, so I thought that my Misty would be a great tool to use to make sure I get a clean, crisp image if I need to stamp it a couple different times. So I'm just going to grab some black ink that up, stamp it onto a piece of scrap paper, and then I will fussy cut it out to add it as an embellishment. Now once I get that stamp down, I do make a little boo-boo when I stamp it, and I have a dark smudge in the center where the screen is on the phone, but that's not a big deal because I'm actually going to cut that part out and I'm going to put my photo back behind there. But once I had it stamped, I felt like the white was just really stark and kind of in your face, and I didn't really love it. So I grabbed another stamp from my stash. This is from Vicky Bouton, and I'm just using a very light pink ink. It matches the pink that I have going on in the spread, and I'm just going to stamp a background onto that phone just to give it a little bit more texture and just to kind of mute down that white a little bit so it wasn't so bright and in your face. So now I have that all put together, and that paper clip is not going to stay there. There was some information in that text message that I probably shouldn't share publicly. It was phone numbers and things like that. So I just have covered up a couple pictures actually that have some more private information on it, like my son's school and things like that. So in the still shots at the end, you will see the entire spread. I just edited out those areas that I wanted to keep private. So now I'm to the point where I want to start adding some journaling to some of these cards, but I knew I wanted to add a title to that card that says Watchdog on it now. I have two photos of my dog kind of standing in the window. He is very much a guard dog, watchdog. He barks and lets us know if anything is coming. So that is why I used those two rainbow striped cards together, because they're actually two photos that go together. They weren't taken on the same day, but they have the same story to them, and they're going to be on two different sides of the spread. And I thought that that would really kind of help blend those two photos together and make it look like it is one photo with one story. We've been rewatching How I Met Your Mother, so that is the card that I'm working on now, and that is that now watching piece that I had cut out from another card. So I'm going to add that to another journaling card and use my photo with those cards just to tell the story. I'm not going to add any journaling to this. I think that it is pretty self-explanatory what's happening. We're now watching How I Met Your Mother. And I noticed when I was putting that card together that there's a typo on that card, and I don't care. I'm just going to go ahead and use it anyway. It's no big deal. I looked at that card a million times and just noticed it. So I think someone flipping through my album won't notice it right away either. And if they do, no big deal. It's supposed to be handmade, and things like that help add to that feel. So now I'm adhering down a photo of a rainy day. I took a picture from outside our window and I added it to that pink card that says Summer Days. Now I'm working on a photo. It's another screenshot. I love, love, love to include screenshots in my project life. And it was an update from the governor of Indiana giving an update on the coronavirus and kind of where we stand on our rollout plan to trying to get back to quote unquote normal. And I was playing around with some chipboard pieces, just trying to figure out what I want to use there, but haven't settled on anything just yet. Now these acetate words that I have in my hand, they are actually stickers, and they're from Little Yellow Bicycle. Does anybody remember Little Yellow Bicycle? I don't think they're still around, but I have had them forever, and I fussy cut out a couple that say Happy Life. I did not want to adhere them down yet because I wasn't 100% sure if I wanted to use them just yet. I did swap out, what you may have noticed, the two floral cards that I have. I'm going to use the one on the bottom right right where it's at, and then I'm going to use the other one as my title card. It had a lot of white empty space, and I did not have any extra journaling that I wanted to add, so I thought that it would work better as a title card. Now I'm adding a chipboard sentiment to my 4x6 photo, which is the only 4x6 photo I have on the spread, and it's a picture of my dog. He always wants his toy bin to be dumped, and he aggressively digs through that toy bin until he finds the toy that he's looking for. So it's something that happens almost daily. So I snapped a picture of him while he was digging through his toys. And I've added a few more words to the spread that have the same alphabet set as the watchdog that I used. So I added BOTM, which stands for Book of the Month, to my photo on the top right-hand side. And then I thought I was going to add the word COVID to that update photo that from the governor, but I used that same word on my spread for the last week when we had another COVID update. So I decided to go with the word update instead of COVID. I'm stamping rainy day on my rainy day photo, and then I'm just going through some other stamps in my stash to see what I can add as far as stamping goes. I did go through my stash to find some products that match these cards that I'm using, and I ended up using a lot from Amy Tangerine. Her picnic, I think it's Picnic in the Park. The color schemes matched really well for the color scheme of the spread, so I added a puffy heart to the card that has the dog on it. I'm going to add some more puffy hearts around the spread. Now I am just adding a little bit of detailing to this photo of my cats. The card that I'm going to back the photo with has some scalloped edges to it, so I used a punch and added some scallop edges to the photo just to kind of help tie all of that in together. I'm going to add a chipboard piece to that camera card, and then I was also going to add one of these rainbows from the Amy Tangerine collection, but I thought it looked a lot better on the card that says sunshine, and I'm going to leave that there. I really like how that looks. So the rest of the spread, you're basically just going to see me add some more embellishing in the form of chipboard and puffy stickers. So while I'm doing that, I'm going to kind of bounce around the spread here just to give you an idea of what I documented for this week. So I already talked about the photo with my dog digging through the toys. I talked about the COVID update. I have another picture of my cat just sitting in the windowsill. Do not have a story to go along with that. So it's just going to be a picture in the pocket. In the bottom left-hand corner, I have a photo of my husband and my son, and I paired it with a journaling card. I think it says Weekend Adventure. I can't read it on my editing screen, but it said what was planned and what really happened, and it was perfect for that weekend because we had a bunch of plans and ended up doing nothing. So I thought that that was great to kind of include what we intended to do and what really happened. On the right-hand side of the spread, that photo, the red and blue photo with the paperclip on it, that is a screenshot from an announcement that my son's school made in regards to going back to school. They gave a little bit more of a detailed plan. So I'm going to add that photo on a 4x6 card, and then I just added some journaling about what the school is intending on doing when school starts back up. The pocket next to that is the Book of the Month pocket, and I actually used two 3x4 cards there. I used the one that says reading list, and I trimmed down my photo of a screenshot of the books that I ordered for the month of July and included that on those photos or on that card. And then I included a 3x4 card that says happiness, and I just typed what I like about Book of the Month, how I'm always excited to get the books each month. And that pretty much covers it. I think that I have talked about all the other photos, what we were watching. I think I mentioned that a couple times, the screenshot, the rain picture. I did add a fave puffy sticker to that rain photo because rainy days are absolutely my favorite. So I wanted to include that. I really do enjoy days like that. I am going to go with that Happy Life sticker on the bottom right-hand side, and I really like the font of those stickers. I think that it was a nice addition, and it just turned it into my own filler card. Now, because I don't have that scripty font really anywhere else on the spread, I decided to balance it by using some scripty alpha stickers from my stash for the title card. So I just added week 28 and the date with my roller date stamp. And here you can see close-ups of the spread. I'm really happy with how this came together. Like I said, I've been struggling a bit with my Studio Calico Kits, but this is actually one of my most favorite spreads. The colors turned out great. I really like the products that I was able to kind of mix and match with the spread, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. So week 28 is in the books. I need to get week 29 printed and I am hoping to have that process video up for you next week. So I want to thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you did like this video and you'd like to continue seeing more Project Life videos, I really do encourage you to give this video a thumbs up and to leave me a comment down below. And I will be back again soon. Thanks, guys.